Hello and welcome back, everyone, to Rocket Rabbit Commentaries run-through of Digimon World 3. We have returned to Asuka City after we have successfully beat Tamer Genshi in a card battle in order to, one, rest, because we, need to restore our HP and mana from the very negative amount of combat that we did going through, as well as we need to, we're going to save again, but I believe this is our first smash cut from doing saves. Nope, not yet. Okay. Eventually, I'm going to fully cut out the saves that we do. But this is me, saving under fast forward, because this takes a whole fucking minute if you don't fast forward through this.
Nah.
The reason why we are saving right now is because since we level 5, we now have 10 TP, so we need to go spend our TP back at Leomon's gym in order to increase our speed some more.
So, let me ask you this. We're talking about PS1. PS1 is a console that you plug into your wall with an electrical cord. But Digimon and Pokemon are very similar games, and Pokemon began on Game Boy Pocket, which was a battery-driven game system.
Well, Game Boy and Game Boy Color. So.
Have you any vivid recollection of being anxious that you could not save your game in time because your battery was about to run out?
Yes, actually. This is something that I ended up drawing out of specifically thanks to emulation. But I do recall attempting and failing to play Pokemon either blue or gold in the car, and being. I don't have enough battery to get to a good save point, which was weird because in Pokemon Blue and Gold, you have the ability to save literally anywhere. So,
Right. Well, that's one obstacle you can run into by saving your game. The other obstacle is, oh no, Mom's about to drop me off for 7th grade school class at 8 o'clock in the morning. And my teacher will be really mad at me and might send me to the principal's office because I was playing Pokemans on the campus.
For the record, I am old enough to where that particular thing didn't start happening until middle school. That said, I never got in trouble for doing that because I wasn't allowed to actually bring my Game Boy Color to middle school. In fact, because I only had a Game Boy Advance SP going through middle school, I never actually had that problem for elementary or middle school either. So yeah.
See, these are the kinds of things that the young people simply cannot relate to, because you can't just put your Game Boy Pocket in standby mode and put it in your pocket. No, it doesn't work like that.
Yeah, it will die.
Yeah,
it will run out of battery by the end of day.
That's right. You gotta crank it down, and then hope to God that you don't hit the off switch on your console while you're putting it in your pocket or while you're taking it back out. Like, oh, it was on when you put it in, and then you come back to a blank screen saying, "Fuck, I was on the Elite Four."
Well, you probably should not have been running through the Elite Four on your way to school, Mr. Cloud, because the Elite Four is almost a full hour of content, and it's a 15-minute drive to school. So.
Oh, I'm sure there are kids who could. There are people walking around who can relate. Like, yep, I started the Elite Four over my breakfast cereal, and then I got to the second leader when I got on the bus. And then by the time I got to the 4th one, I was off the bus. I was really hoping that I was going to be able to finish the fight while I was just waiting from the cafeteria where all the kids have to go and wait to actually get shuttled to homeroom. But it didn't work.
Yeah. It's not a thing that I personally experienced, but I do know that kids in my generation may not have had that experience themselves, but definitely had the ability to have that experience.
Well, versus PS1 era where you can leave your disc spinning all day long.
Don't.
You come back 6 hours later.
I mean, you can, but don't. Very specifically, we have various confirmed reports that if you leave a PS1 disc spinning for an entire day, although there are some games that give you rewards for doing so, you are very likely to destroy your discs doing that.
Well, I guess that's why they stopped making that a thing, to leave your game running for 8 hours straight. Actually, I think Super Smash Bros. Melee had a similar thing where, like, No. That was just like, oh, play the game for 12 hours. No, bullshit. I want the reward and get to unlock the higher level characters not by actually playing the game, but just by leaving a fight open for 8 hours straight and then getting credit for that.
Yeah, that's how it's Mewtwo, right, for Melee?
Yeah, I think Mewtwo you have to play the game for 8 hours and then you get to play or just do what everybody else is supposed to do and get to the event match in which you play against Mewtwo and then you can unlock the character battle.
I thought it was 100 player matches.
100-man melee.
No, not 100-man melee. I thought it was 100 different Smash matches in order to unlock Mewtwo.
That's a lot of matches just watching computer players go back and forth.
Okay, so Annotations Gerdat is attempting to explain here that what we're here for is to actually attempt to finish the fishing pole side quest. Digimon has the ability to drop at approximately, I think it's 12%, an item called the Spider Web, which is a combat item that you can throw at an opponent in order to reduce their speed, and I think potentially poison them. The other big thing that it does, however, is it serves as the fishing line for the fishing pole. We have the bamboo spear and we have the red snapper. Once we have the spider's web, we can actually go and talk to the guy over at Shell Beach in order to fully construct our fishing pole. Once we have the fishing pole, then we can actually start doing, more. We will be high enough level and with enough, enough raw experience and tech, because yes, once Grizzmon hits level 5, we got Lightning Slash, and we also got our Spider's Web. So now that we have Lightning Slash, and Grizzmon is at 5, what we're gonna go do is we're gonna go into Protocol Ruins, which is where Repeating Ted told us that Seru Leader is hiding out right now.
Okay. Time out for a second. We just had to navigate to a plot important area of the game by walking totally blind through a canopy of trees because of the perspective.
Not totally blind, but yes, there is in fact a maze down there, and you don't get to see the walls of the maze. But to be perfectly honest, the maze for Protocol Forest is not particularly difficult to navigate. Just follow, more or less, all you got to do is follow the south wall along, and you'll be fine.
See, when Link had to travel through the Lost Woods in order to get to the boss of Dark World, when you're in that area of the game where the Master Sword is found in Light World, you got a little break from the canopy of trees so you can see Link's character model. That was like you are just immersed in wandering around and totally at risk of running into one too many wild encounters that's going to knock out your Digimon.
Kinda, sorta. I mean, the Protocol Forest is actually the highest / second highest. No, it's the second. Yeah, it is by technicality the second highest level area for East / Central Sector, but we have our Grizzmon now, so we have the ability to actually, two-shot, because we are abusing the speed spiral of death. We have the ability to effectively two-shot every single one of these wild encounters, and because we have so much higher speed than everybody else, we are, able to avoid most of their melee attacks. And since we're still very early on, a majority of our enemies are only doing melee attacks.
Right, as opposed to the exception of the rule where occasionally the Digimon is like spitting lightning balls or whatever.
Yeah. So, now that we have talked to Seru Leader, that sets up the flag for us to go over to Tyranno Valley in order to deal with Master Tyrannomon. who we are not going to be doing for a little bit yet because we have the spider's web, so we can go finish building our fishing pole.
I did notice, by the way, that what apparently was a dead end on that ledge actually turned out to be a line of demarcation between the traversable map and the loading screen. That would have screwed me up right when I was at the age when this game was out.
Trying to think. I was playing Diablo 2 before this, so specifically I was playing Diablo 2 with the overhead map on before this. So I don't think I'm sure that I've never actually gotten lost in the Protocol Ruins, the Protocol Forest maze, and the Protocol Ruins itself is actually extremely linear. There's only really two areas to go to in Protocol Ruins. There's Pharaoh's Throne and Baronmon's Stool that we'll get to much later on.
I mean, there are like some gray areas of like, well, did they anticipate this error among their gamers? And then there's just blatantly like, what the fuck were they thinking? I think
we will have what the fuck were they thinking elements later on. In fact, because I'm never going to actually show off this particular one, I'm going to go over it here. One of the key items that we're going to get from defeating Serial Leader is the bronze ticket, which will allow us to actually go into the gyms and actually increase the different trainings that we can go do at the gym. Specifically for Leomon's gen, it will unlock a bunch of resistance trainings. The midway point for the tickets, specifically the gold ticket, is a hidden item that is only accessible by going through an extremely convoluted transportation method that you would not find on your own. And I know that they did this on purpose because the whole reason why it's over there is to stress the fact that, hey, exploring the map with this new traversal method is extremely relevant to your goals, especially when it comes to the side content. The problem is, narratively, it doesn't make any fucking sense to go and attempt to find this item. Mostly because narratively, we're already at that point in the game. We're already on the quest to attempt to save the world because the world is actively being assailed. We got the fishing pole. Thanks, Wong. So now we have the ability to do effectively perfect grinding for the remainder of Act 1. And as Annotations Gerdat mentions here, there is a very powerful fishing spot in Asuka City just outside of El Dorado. I will not be showing us doing the grinding there because we're actually not going to be doing the grinding there. It's where I would recommend doing the grinding if you want to do grinding in this game. But it is not where we're going to do our grinding because we still have to go get another key item for a main quest later on. So we're going to go do that instead.
I was standing on top of concrete, and now I'm in the middle of a prairie.
Yeah, the backgrounds that you get very specifically are tied to technically what sector you're in and what part of what sector you're in. Like most of the backgrounds you get are for East and Central sector are either the grassy plains, the kicking forest, or the beach area, or in Plug Cape, which is the actual second highest level area in the game. You can also get the canyon spawn point here, which is what we're going to be doing now. Not in this fight, but in the next fight, in order to attempt to farm a particular enemy that drops a key item for us. This is I'm of two minds of this, to be perfectly honest. It's weird that there are key items that you have to get by farming enemy drops in this game. But what's more weird is that there's only two. It's the spider's web and the TNT ball that we're attempting to get now, and it's not from this Digimon. It's from the next one that we'll be fighting. And the thing is They're both in Act 1, despite the fact that the key item that we're attempting to build for is in Act 2. So, oh no, that's right. We hit level 7, so we want to go spend our TP. Never mind.
You'll always be Kumamon to me. And then as soon as we get in the battle arena, you get roided up.
Yes, this is the battle Digivolve system that is. It makes the Digivolve option in the battle menu effectively superfluous, but not entirely, as we'll do a particular boss fight that's based around it later. In the next episode, we'll do our training and actually start doing some real progress. Be safe, everybody.